Properties. There we are. That's working. Oh, there's always something with settings. Sorry, guys and girls. I didn't realise there's me talking away like a lemon. Brother Ashton, how you doing? But yeah, VR does work. Chat works. Now the mic works. Thanks to Ashton. There's always something that goes wrong with the stream. Nearly every day I do a stream. If it ain't the wheel not switching on properly, if it ain't the pedals, it's not the microphone. Yeah, I'm doing alright. Thought we'd do an early stream. And to the other people who were asking questions, I do apologise. I did answer your question, just it was not on mic. You're like a plum now. How's your day going? I don't know what I'll be doing today, to be honest. I know I said I wanted to do a bit of American trucks, which is what I'm doing now. I want to be doing Dirt Rally later on at some time. If I've got any time, I may jump onto ETS, but whether that'll be single or multi, I'm not entirely sure. Could always jump in on my Discord and that will tell you what games I'm playing. When I'm playing them, at least you get some kind of heads up. What do you know, Papa? Yeah, trying to think where I was. I think I'm up in the Baltic area at the moment. But I plan to be a bit all over the shop, to be honest, because my multiplayer profile is pretty much empty in terms of destinations. Alright. Maybe that's one a bit big. Tell you what, the hardest part with this VR is getting the headset comfortable on your head. It will find the sweet spot. Leaning too far down. Let's try that one. And trailers swerving. Whoa. It will change lanes. Like all of 2 seconds by the looks of it. Supposed to be doing 45 and our fuel is going down quite nicely. How much time have we got? Still got 3 hours and 159 miles. I think we may have to do a little stop on our train. That looks really cool in VR. It is. Very weird. I think the cable is a bit tight at the moment because it's even that's pushing on my head. Where's the cable gone? There it is. Push that over a bit and reposition the headset a bit. I've gone for thinner padding to bring the headset closer to your face. The problem with thinner padding though, it can cause pressure points on your head. So you've got to try and find the balance. I think what we might do, keep an eye out for fuel. What's going on with that road section? Gonna need to be coming off. Oh, we're not going that way. Oh yeah, this is the new one, this is the detours. So there's been an accident. And now we've got to find a detour. So yeah, they finally updated ATS, the detours, for VR. It's near enough, isn't it? Gotta wait at the lights, look, even a fire truck and everything. That back end, make sure it comes around okay. And we is off again. So, where are we? I don't know. I'm hoping we get enough fuel. Watch that back end, so take the front right the way over to right, and we hit the lights again. I'm thinking I might take HDR off. It's weird, because I'm looking that way, the clouds are really blooming. As soon as you move your head though, it calms down. I think that's just HDR messing with your face. Yeah, using a program that's called OVR Drop that allows you to drop in any window on your PC into VR. So if you really wanted to, you could do Netflix, put it up there and watch a bit of a movie while you're trucking. Yeah, look at that. See, the detail in the clouds is all washed out. Right, hold on. Let's fix that a second. I gotta find the escape key. Oop. Options. Let's do high dynamic range off. As nice as it is to have on, it can be rather a strain on your eyes. That's better. Everything looks a little bit more normal to me now, and it's not burning my eyeballs out. Also, this is the new area for ATS. This is the Oregon download part, the DLC, so looks nice. A lot of straight rows and trees and God knows what, but there's a little bit more detail in there than certain other areas. Brother Rays, how you doing? I'm good, thank you very much. And how's your day going? What have you been up to? It does, from an experience point of view, you know, whereas on my ETS kind of streams where I'm doing it on triple screens, the VR does bring you into the world a lot more, you know. For all intents and purposes, you may as well be just sitting in a truck, you know, especially when you've got, you know, steering wheel in exactly the same position. Just a shame my buttons aren't in the same position here, because that'd be great. But yeah, just brings you into the game more. You know, literally look straight out of the side, have a look out, look around the cab. You know, that's the kind of thing you can't really do, even with triples. You can only go so far, even with you know, your head-mounted devices to try and give you that feel of looking around. It's just not the same. Whereas this, pretty much there. You can even see my foot down there, but it doesn't move. And I look a little bit shorter than I am in real life, but that's about it. Been a long day, has it, Rays? How are we getting on? What's my fuel like? Right. Keep an eye out for fuel. I might need it. Where are we? 1 hour 28 remaining, 79 miles. I have no idea whether we can do 79 miles on that tank. We've got 205 litres. Oh, we should be alright. It's the last time I did one of these, I ran out of fuel. That was great. Going down. There's someone turning up ahead. Ah, yeah. Were you up all night partying then, were you? Party, party, party. Got a, what, biplane up there? And we are going straight on. Ah, an ETS player. You do American truck as well? Okay, get ready to turn. Going down that way. Yeah, I'm the same, you know, I prefer ETS. That's one of the reasons why I'm doing this particular stream. You know, play a lot of ETS, I stream a lot of ETS, but my ATS was doing absolutely nothing, so I thought, you know what, why not do something a little different? Rather than doing an ETS and an ATS stream on triple screens, I mean, I've got access to VR, it'll mean that I'm using my VR more. So I thought, okay, let's do ATS and VR and try and do it complete from start to however far I get with the company in ATS. So yeah, that's why we're doing this one, really, so I can try and get into ATS more, I can use my VR more, and hopefully it'll add content to the stream that people enjoy as well. So, because I must admit, you know, if I was just going to be playing the games and choose ATS or ETS, 9 times out of 10 it's going to be ETS I'm going to be picking. But ATS is growing, you know, it's they're adding more content, and ATS is playing a catch-up game in that respect. But the new diversions they've got going on, I think that adds a little something to it, but no doubt that'll come into ETS sooner or later. Thanks very much, Race. It's one of the things I need to fix, actually, is having a display that comes up. I don't know if it's there, actually. It's a good question. I can't see. I wonder if there's a way of getting that to display in VR when people sub. No, I was just wondering if there's a way of getting it. I mean, other than doing OVR drop and getting it to bring it in somehow, but I don't know if I can run 2 instances at the same time and have 2 windows. I'll have to play with that. That's a new one on me. The other option is I try and get the chat through Streamlabs, because that would tell me there as well. I'll have a play around with that one as well. That might be the better option. There'll be 1 window less to play with. Right then, where are we? Look at that fuel tank. Ooh, just enough. Right, hopefully we'll have some nice straightforward parking, because this thing's massively long. And I hate dual trailers, I didn't check that. And that flag looks absolutely massive. This is the sick bit. Quick. There we go. Oh, nice and easy. That rear end, we're all good. Right, tight over. Handbrake. Right, we're done. Continue. Let's pick another job. Some money on 254,000. We're not going to take any loans. Let's find out. Not just yet, anyway. don't know if I really want to be doing these ultra heavy ones though. Bulldozer 40 ton. Have a look. Oh. 77,000. Might be worth doing. Wow, that's a lot of job. Brother Ninja. The Volvo, there's a Volvo here. A BLN 780. Actually, we might actually take that job. It's not a bad one. 23 hours long though, look at that. 10 tons of car, so it should be relatively quick. Fly through that and that'll give us a huge stretch. Mind you, what's that one? We've got 7 ton, do us 25 hours. Man, they've got these jobs really long on this one. Have another look first. Well, I think we need the money, so I think we might as well just do that one for 44. I think we will. Hello. Have a look around, shall we? Bit of size. It's like a little bit. Whoa, see, look, there's an armrest there. Make me feel like I can put my arm on it. Right, let's line up a second. That's better. Power kicking in. Well, that's a crummy horn. Right then, let's get rid of that. Right, find out where your fuel gauge is. Right, it's right by there. Looks like we've got plenty for now. And we is off. Hello, no entry. How you doing? Has been a long time. Well, I know that they've done a recent update because the 1.33 beta wasn't out for VR until well, I noticed it yesterday, which is why I decided to stream ATS VR now, because now we get the detours and everything, especially for VR. So I know VR is usually like a week or two behind. Yeah, all good. Getting married next year as well. Oh my gosh. I thought that's what you do though, you leave that to your missus to plan out, don't you? That's the bit they love. I mean, obviously you've got your little bit you need to sort out as well. Ray's, I'm from the UK in South Wales. Well, what's the... No, I've used it in ETS. The problem with VR in ETS... At the moment I could use it, but because I usually run Pro mods, for whatever reason, Pro mods won't work with VR. Every time I try and launch ETS with Pro mods, it crashes to desktop. I'd have no idea about dealerships myself. I haven't even got into buying trucks at the moment, so I'm just doing the quick jobs because my profile's so low. I need to get as much money as possible. But VR and ETS, when it works, is perfectly fine. It's virtually the same. I don't know if it seems a little bit smoother in ATS, but I got no complaints with either. Ninja. What's up, Ninja? I have thought about moving the chat to the dashboard area, but I don't know if it would work because I think I'd have to have it a lot smaller. It is a lot of fun in VR. Just got to remember to take a break every so often because it is a strain on the eyes, which is why I don't use HDR when I'm in VR because it's very bright. Whoa, 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 whoa! I'm turning here. Nearly got that wrong. Got that guy up behind me. Yay. Got a lot of time to make up here. So what are we on? 22 hours, 22 minutes? 1,126 miles to cover. I can't remember which button's which now. Hold on. Uh-oh, didn't want to do that one. Nope. We've got... Oh god, oot! We've got 660 miles to travel. We're gonna need fuel for sure. Hold on, how did I get that up? That's the wrong button. Let's get the mirrors off, don't need them on. Good to know they still work in game there. Can bring it up for rear view parking, I suppose. As the detail from that mirror can be a bit of a pain. But let's calm down a bit because my head movements like that are going to make you feel sick. What is that? Oh wow. Reflection of that looked really cool. Well, in ATS it does, because you tend to be travelling faster in ATS anyway. To get some good scenery. I mean, that looks really good. Holy crap. Ah, it's raining. Let's go for VR wipers. Now, that's a good point. Supposedly now we get the improved rain effect in VR as well. Not quite sure how that's going to work, but you can see the water running across the screen. That looks cool. Actually, I think the effect works better in VR. There just needs to be a lot more rain. But I guess we're only getting a light sprinkling because it's not exactly heavy cloud out there. But I don't know, I kind of like that. It looks really cool in VR. Makes you think you just reach out and touch it. Where are we going? We are going straight on. Let's get in lane, shall we? Bit of lane control, please. Oh. Okay, that effect looks pretty cool in VR, I must admit. I mean, to you guys it's gonna look probably the same as it does in the normal games, but in VR it's kind of like, what? It's really funky. I do like that. That's kind of impressed me, that does. Let's put the wipers on a bit more. I think driving in the wet in VR is certainly a lot better than it is in the standard games. That does look very convincing. I need lights on, don't I? That'd be an idea. Now we've got the weighbridge pass, so we don't have to worry about that one. What do you guys think? Does the rain look any different to you guys? I'm guessing it doesn't, to be honest, but in VR, you know, from what I can remember the differences between the two, it certainly feels a lot different than you. And there goes the rain. That's a shame. I was enjoying that. On there, we'll squeeze around. Fuel-wise, half a tank. I was having a sneak peek. I know one thing, I certainly need another cup of coffee. I'll be getting one after I drop this load off, but that's going to be a fair few hours. What are we on now? Let's have a quick look. Down to 19 hours, oh my god. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's okay, is it? Okay. Okay. I like it. Come on, he's hauling logs and he's going faster than me. That's disgraceful. We might get some scenery down here, but I'm going to be blocked by this log truck. Careful now, Nightbot's patrolling. There you go. You know what? Every time I up the limit on that, and people still manage to max it out, I might as well just remove that one. We're still going straight on. It's kind of cool going past trucks though, and having a peek in. Who's driving? Well, not right now. We're doing American truckers. Fuel-wise, 377 litres. Really? We've still got another 400 miles out of this thing. Then what have we got left mileage-wise? 900, yeah. I think we'll get that down to 200 mark, and then we'll look for a fuel station to top it back up a bit. Well, I must admit, hold on, indicators on. I did multiplayer last night on ETS2 for the first time in a long time. It wasn't so bad. If you're away from the main crowd, it was relatively easy. It is dead. I mean, that's the one thing I don't like about it, is the fact that there is no AI the rest of the place. I mean, that's a bit of a frustration for me. But I guess if you're driving in a group and there's a group of you and you're chatting, then fair enough. You know, there's another aspect. There's the social aspect there. I'm still not convinced that multiplayer, the way they've done it at the moment, is right. But you know, if ETS bring out, or if SCS bring out their own multiplayer and they do it differently, you know, if they can have a mix of AI and human. Who knows? Be worth a go. Hopefully you find the one you're after, Ninja. And we get a bypass on that one as well. Nice. Usually I've got to stop at them all the time, it's annoying. What's outside? Let's have a look, shall we? Not a lot. Flat. Green. And there's a few trees. And that's the problem with ATS. You're after a lot of dollars. I'm not quite sure what you mean there, 1, 2, 3. I see some random chat in my time, but that's pretty random. How are we doing? Let's pull it in. Are we blocking everything behind me? Nope, we're all good. Well, it hasn't really been on 3 days in a row if you've been restarting it. Because every time you restart it, you're refreshing the memory and the cache. So, it's not really a constant 3 days. But, to be honest, I wouldn't advise anybody to leave their PC on 3 days and be playing games. And I should do it more, but I should really be restarting my PC before every stream just to make sure everything loads and runs as good as it can. As for spin tires, yes, I have played spin tires. I do have the spin tires and the American update for it. Oh, do I have the American update for it? I know I looked at it. I can't remember if I bought it now. Jeez. I may not have. I know it was in my basket. I can't remember if I clicked buy. Damn it. But spin tires, yeah, it's a good game. If you've got friends to play with, it's probably better. Single player, it's probably more interesting to play ETS. It's an okay game, you know. I think it's better as a multiplayer, where you're working with somebody, because there'll be times when you'll be, you know, you roll your truck, and it's just more fun to have somebody helping you out. Mind you, I am thinking of Mud Runner. I do have both though. I do have spin tires and Mud Runner. I wouldn't pay. If you're going for the old one, spin tires, I probably wouldn't pay that much for it. Is it Mud Runner you're really talking about, or is it actually spin tires you're looking at? Because spin tires was the early development one, and then they ended up relaunching as Mud Runner. I would wait until it's on sale, and there will be a Steam Winter Sale soon, won't there? Yeah, whatever, Copper. Right, fuel, how are we doing? It's a good game in general, with regards to its, you know, how they deform the mud and the tyre deformation and all of that. Technically it's very good. You know, and the trucks travelling over the ground do feel heavy and weighted and what have you. Force feedback if you're using a steering wheel isn't the best. It's probably better, but it works. I mean, I can get mine to work with it. Works well with controller or steering wheel, to be honest. I mean, if you're into your driving games, I would say yes, it's a game to have in your collection. I just never found myself being able to really get into it. You know, I'll pop on and I'll try and open up a map and I'll try and do a couple of jobs. But I think I did a lot more when I was playing with friends rather than playing on my own. Oh, we're going to get the stars out. Right, I think we're going to have to start looking for fuel because 239 litres, we've still got 757 miles. That's only going to get us 300 odd miles, so... I wonder if we're going to have the shooting stars again, or whatever they're supposed to be. Yeah, I'm kind of holding off from buying anything. The Steam Winter Sale is out soon. One thing I have been telling people though, Epic Games have Subnautica free of charge. So if you go over to Epic Games, get yourself an account, you can at least add that to your account there. Might be worth it if you want that type of game. I've done it anyway just because, well, it's a free game, so just add it to the list. Might actually look into that. Never played it, but I've seen loads of people talk about it, so I was like, well, you know, it's free, I'll add it to my list, and if I get the time, maybe I'll take a look at it. Is Subnautica the one that has VR support as well? I can't remember. I know there's an underwater game that does. I can't remember what it was though. Okay, I need to adjust that again. Yeah, I can't remember. I know there was one underwater one that does have VR support. No, I definitely don't want to be playing Fortnite. I get enough Fortnite with my son. Dad, I'm gonna play Fortnite with my friends. Jeez. It's like every time, Fortnite this, Fortnite that. It's like, wow. I mean, I can see why the kids love it, but... definitely not for me. Honk honk. Honk honk. Yeah, well, we're on 183 and I still haven't come across a fuel station. We're going to be running out again, aren't we? Going behind. Nothing on the map. Not a good sign. Let's have a look at the map on here because I can change the size. There doesn't look to be anything. Oh my god. Hold on, what's that coming up? There's a bit of green down there. Ooh. Sorry. Okay, well if we can make... oh, actually. I'll leave that on because that might come in handy. I can turn it off there. Right. So there's a bit of green coming up, which would suggest there is a fuel station coming up. Did you get the new update? Fortune Island, I played that a couple of days ago. A day ago. It's good. Yes, it adds more content. But is it really worth the money you spend on it? I don't know. I'm not entirely convinced, you know? I'm flying madly. I don't know what that plane was doing. Keeping it in a straight line in VR is like a pain in the butt. Right, hold on. I'll slow down. No, that's just weighbridge only. We're not turning off. Fuel station is a bit further down. Yes, we've got at least a junction or two. Some nice roads on it though, I'll give it that much. We was really getting into the rally sections the other day. Mind you, saying that, it took me a good 2 hours just to get used to their handling again. Right, is there anything around here? No, that's the first junction, so it should be the next one now. And hopefully there'll be fuel on this side of the road. Stopping you for sure. Here we go. I remember the switches. It's that one. I can brake on. Hold up. Brake. And rears off. Let's follow this dude out, shall we? Well, that's because you used the glitch. I never understand people using glitches. Why make the game easier? Where's the challenge then? Well, everybody's got a different way of playing the games, I can understand that. For me, though, the first thing I usually do when I get a game, it's go in, go to the difficulty setting and up it. And if it's too difficult, okay, then I may knock it down if it's really hard. But yeah, if it's not a challenge, then I don't enjoy it. That's just practice, and obviously having a PC that, you know, gives you good frame rates at all the time certainly helps. I mean, if your PC in that particular game, say, is struggling to deliver a minimum of 30 frames a second, then it can be a headache to try and race with other people or race against the AI. But I mean, I get your point. Do you know what? I've never played Forza 7 though. I don't mind the wheel support in Forza 4. Oh yeah, sorry, I missed the bit where you said Xbox. No excuses then. Nah, that's fair enough. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, there is no right way or wrong way of playing the game. The game is playing it under your way of doing it. You know, I'm certainly not going to sit here and judge you and say, well, you're doing it all wrong. You know, it's down to you at the end of the day. I'm disappointed we didn't get any shooting stars today. I thought we were going to get some. Yeah, I mean it is at the end of the day. It's good for that. You know, the social aspect on there is very good. They should do a Coca-Cola Christmas truck. I wonder if they get away with that. I've got all the lights lit up. That would look really awesome at night. Can we squeeze it? I think so. On Friday, wonder where the cheapest place to pick up Baltic is at the moment. Is it still discounted on CD keys? I know it was, but what price have you seen it for? I think CD keys have got it for well, yeah, $9.40. Similar price. I know CD keys have got it for $9.90 or something, or $9.99. Must admit, I've never bought from that place, so I'm guessing it's okay though. Well, they had it discounted before the DLC was released. And that's the thing with CD keys. Usually pre-release, they'll have a discount price on it. It's like now Dirt Rally 2 is discounted to like 30 quid for the base game. And it should be 50 quid out or something. Which is like... it's kind of annoying because they don't sell the high-end version of it, which is like 70 quid. But that gives you the extra couple of days and the DLC stuff. And I'm like, well, do I go for the extended version or just to go for the base version? Might just get the base version for 30 quid. You know, I don't see the point of waiting and paying 50 quid when you can buy it for 30 quid now. I will vouch for CD. I've used CD keys loads, so I've got no problem buying off CD keys. I've never had a problem buying off them, so I'm always more than happy purchasing through CD keys. I bought the DLC myself through them, and numerous games in the past. with the winter sales coming up now, I'd probably hold fire and wait for the winter sales, to be honest. Wow, that's bright. That's one thing you do get, is VR. When you put headlights on full, jeez, that is bright. Okay, let's put that back. Oh. Yeah, Ashton, it may be worth holding fire because I think it's the 20th or 21st is a Steam sale, the winter sale. It's your call at the end of the day, but it may be worth just waiting that extra week. This is a long trek. What have we got? 875. Have a look. Oh, we've got 400 miles to go. Did I see a shooting star then? Or I'm gonna have a look and try not to crash. Nope. I was just seeing things. Nope, there's one. Shooting star! Whee! The only thing I find with them is they come around too often. You can't see that on stream. There's two just went by now. And another one. Yeah, that's the thing with VR, because it's really dark for me. If I remember correctly, with Vive, I'm sure it uses OLED panels as well. When it comes to things like blacks and what have you, it really is quite dark and black. $800 miles in the tank. We're moving straight on. What's the time in the game, do we know? Okay. Another couple of hours and we'll get some daylight. What's that, Ashton? I'm not bombing it. Look, it's a 55 limit, and I'm, you know, maybe a little bit over that, but that's not the point. You know? I'm doing what my truck allows me to do. We got another bypass, lovely. I'll take that. We've still got another 8 hours on this. I guess that's what I do like about the ATS, even though they give you long jobs, you know, we're talking nearly 24 hours plus. Because you can travel so swiftly on the highways here, it doesn't seem so bad. Well, let's get ready. Yeah, I mean overall, unless they can bring something to the table with ATS, ETS will always be my favourite. But I do enjoy ATS when I'm in VR. I know if I did the two side-by-side VRs in both, I'd probably prefer ETS as well. But this is why I want to keep VR to ATS only, because it will allow me to enjoy ATS. Because I must admit, if I was doing it on triples, you know, side by side with ETS, I'd end up booting ETS all the time. In that, pretty dark. And the blacks in this are inky black. Oh, where's the road gone? Here somewhere. Follow that car in front, because if he wasn't there, I'll be in the bush now. Yeah, okay, I'll do that. Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing you can do to try and improve your frames per second, is put everything to its minimum. If you've got things like anti-aliasing switched on, you can turn them off, because that kills frames. Certainly turn your reflections off or to minimum. Yeah, no entry he is, but he is planning on upgrading to a new PC soon. Well, within 6 months. I think he's using a laptop at the moment. I need to stick to the left, which is always good. Okay, slowing down. Whoa, nearly. Clear, so we're going to go for it. We're in the truck lane. Yeah, for gaming, you're always better off with a desktop PC. I mean, yes, granted there are some nice gaming laptops, but even the best gaming laptop can't compare with the same kind of desktop variant. And you're paying through the nose for those machines when you can probably get cheaper on a desktop. The only reason I would stick with the laptop is literally if you had to have mobile gaming. You know, if you can get away with a desktop though, I would always recommend a desktop. We're at the max of this track. It's not going to let us go any faster now. Yay. Oh, don't get me wrong, I mean, laptops have their place as well. I mean, I've got a laptop as well. It's a really old laptop. Still an i7. Got an NVIDIA... Oh, I can't remember what's in there. 650? You know, it'll barely do games, but I don't use it for games anymore. Didn't really use it for games originally. It was handy. It was handy to have it. It could run some basic games on there, but really it was just to have something mobile that I could take with me when I needed it. However, down the line now, it overheats regularly. Cooling on it was never good at the beginning, but it's even worse now. And that's even stripping it down, repasting it, cleaning the fans out, and it still does it. And the thing is, if something goes wrong with a PC, 9 times out of 10 it's, you know, you can fix it easy, you can replace the parts easy. Laptops, more than likely going to be replacing the whole laptop. Hey, we get a bit of scenery at last. California dreaming. $32 gig of RAM? No. What is it with people who seem to think that you need to have 32 gigs of RAM? 8 gig of RAM is still fine today. Yes, you'll see small benefits running 16. 32 gig, you're having a laugh. I've got 16 gig in this and I don't max out my memory, even when streaming. People who say they need 32 gigs if they're streaming or playing games, sorry, it's wrong. You can do perfectly fine with 8 gig for gaming only. You could probably get away with 8 gig for streaming and gaming. But if you're going to be buying RAM now, 16 gig is a good target to aim for. You certainly don't need 32. I had an opportunity to buy 32 gig, and I thought, why? I'll save the money and put it to something else. I can add another 16 gig to my machine if I want. But I'm streaming on 16 gig, running games with 16 gig, and I don't have any memory issues. I barely hit 8 to 9 gig when I'm running my games and streaming. Sorry, but telling people to run 32 gig of RAM is a joke. You don't need to. It's just overkill. You're better off having 16 gig of RAM and going for the fastest sticks you can get. What you need on AMD is speed. If you're going to go for a Ryzen CPU, 3000 megahertz rated RAM minimum, ideally 3200 megahertz RAM is what I would be going for. And even that you can pick up for like 150 quid off Amazon. 32 gig, it's just crazy talk. You know, you're just playing games. You know, if you were doing video production work or high-end, you know, graphical posters, this, that, and the other, then yeah, 32 gig, you're going to need that. I won't be doing multiplayer in ATS, mate. My ATS is purely going to be single play. And if and when I finish this, or I don't know about if, that definitely will be finished at some point. I don't think I'll be doing ETS later today, because I must admit, when I do VR, it kind of strains you, and if I'm going to play another game, it'll be something completely different. Yeah, that's what I would go for, minimum. That's the minimum spec I would go for. Because if you go for a Ryzen chip, Ryzen likes faster RAM. And I believe the 3000 megahertz comes in at about 120 odd quid. If you can push a little bit extra, I would go for the 3200 megahertz RAM, to be honest. That works at about 150 quid at the moment. But again, all of this you're going to be buying in 6 months' time, so hopefully the price will come down for you. And if it does, then you can up the speed. You don't need to go for 32 gig. That's just silly talk. Good. Let's face it, what's 32 gig of RAM these days? It's going to be over 200 quid minimum. You know, that's a fair chunk of money. You could be, you know, if somebody said to me, you know what, you've got 16 gig of RAM at what, 150 quid, or you've got 32 gig of RAM, and let's say it costs you 250 quid. You know, there's a fair chunk in price difference there, and if you were willing to get 32 gig of RAM, you're not going to get any benefit over 16 gig in terms of frames per second, but you would if you spent the difference on a better graphics card. You know, at most you may gain an extra 1 or 2 frames per second with the extra 32 gig, if you're lucky, and that's game dependent. But with the money being spent on a better graphics card, you may gain a better 20, 40 frames per second. Yeah, there is just no need to go over 16, and whoever's advising you 32, they're in cuckoo land. Sorry. If you're going for a gaming system, there's just no need for anything more than 16, to be honest. And I'm sure there's plenty of people out there who will do game tests 16 versus 32 gig of RAM, and it'll probably show exactly the same. There may be a small benefit, but it's too small to justify the cost. You know, let's say there's £100 difference between the two. That £100 better off spent on a better graphics card, or a better CPU. But 9 times out of 10, a better graphics card will do. You know, unless you're running something like a 1080 Ti already, then invest in a CPU. But if you're going to be purchasing something like a 1060, if it'll allow you to jump up to a 1070, great. Go for the better card. Well, we're going to cut him up. Let's have a look, see what we doing. Got 114. Oh, 2 hours to go. Nearly there. And it's daylight. Yay! Look, train. Ooh. I'm gonna race the train. Come on! That looks really good just looking out the window and seeing that. Not that there's a window there. I would have no idea what that is. What's the farm bill then? Well. That's all the government's for you then, isn't it? But hey, you know, you don't get any of that when you're driving here in the PC land. Who knows, that could be in the next update. Ooh. We try and go around? Oh, that was a bad move. I picked up X-Plane recently, so I've done at least one stream on X-Plane. That was kind of fun. It's something that I would love to learn. The problem is, there is just so much to learn. And I was kind of disappointed that X-Plane doesn't have a really deep tutorial on getting the basics of maybe flying a Cessna or working your way up to maybe flying you know, like 747 or something, you know? I was kind of hoping that there would be a lot of training data within the game itself where you could do that. I could stream it and go through it with people, but I was really disappointed because it only got like, I don't know, 8, 10 maybe training things to do, and it's really basic. And it doesn't really talk you through much of anything. Which means then for me to do that, I would have to be looking at videos myself and kind of learning what other people are telling, and it's not going to make for an enjoyable stream if I'm doing that, to be honest. I don't know if there's anything I can download for X-Plane that will help in that respect. Sorry, cop, I'm cutting you up. I want to get to this destination. But I must admit, I did enjoy it. Kind of hard playing it with flight sticks. It probably worked better with a yoke. And I'm toying with the idea of picking up a yoke system, but we'll see. Because I'd like to get into flight more, but... Oh, and the helicopter was a joke. I could barely get that off the ground. That was great. Oh, look out. Trouble. I hate it when they do that. Right, what have we got left? Let's have a look, shall we? Nearly there. 40 miles, 54 minutes. Nah, don't be silly. This is a game. We don't do anything like that. We get the good parts. We get the sunny skies, and that's about it. Bit of rain, that's as worst as it gets. Maybe one day they'll introduce, you know, thunder and lightning and snowstorms. Yeah, you can sometimes. I think they're getting better though. I don't see them weaving around so much. Usually before a junction they're like, oh, do I want to be in this lane? Do I want to be in that lane? I can't see me getting over there anytime soon, you know. Living in the UK would make it kind of difficult. Good to know the brakes work. Slow. Is it just this truck? Looks like it is. We're gonna have to wait. No destination coming up. Yeah, I can understand that one. I mean, you know, kind of job I would have thought would keep you up all the time. Absolutely. Sounds like a goodbye there, Ashton. Right, where are we? It's down there on the left. No need for 32 gig at all. You find the 16. 32 is just overkill for no reason. click that quickly before you end up puking. Right. Right, what are we doing with this thing? Aha. Okay. I needed to come around to find out which way we were parking this. So we've got an idea. Seriously? I don't know how they expect you to line up with this thing when you can't see clearly. I can't see out that mirror, that's the thing. So I don't know where I am. Hold on, let's do a little bit of that. Boop. And I might have turned a little late. I can understand that. Being real life would make it a lot more difficult. At least on this I don't have to worry too much about dinging things. I ain't gonna have anybody else shouting at me going, "Ah, you've ruined my truck." We've damaged the goods. Okay, I think we're slightly over, but hey. It'll allow us to drop it off by there, so that's good enough for me. That'll do. Straighter than what I thought it was going to be, that's for sure. So, level up. What are we going to go for? High value cargo, maybe? Try and find another job. We're up to 80,000 a job, 52 a mile. Okay, don't particularly want to do massively long jobs at the moment. Right, crazy long. 17 hours. Hour trips. EVs. Might be tempted just to do a nice short run for now. 10 hours is a lot better than 23, that's for sure. Do that one. That's not good, I just reset it wrong. Boop, boop, boop. Let's have a look around. 8. Ah, press the wrong button. Right, turn them off. Always the same in this one. I always feel like I'm sitting like miles back. No, it's too low. That'll have to do. Unless, of course, you do actually feel like you're sitting miles back, but this, yeah. I feel like I'm sitting a little bit too far back. Bit better, I suppose. And that's part of the problem when you get just one set of companies or type of companies ruling it all. Kind of messes it all up, doesn't it? Oh, look at that. Back end's not going to come out of there easy, is it? Oh, I've messed that turning up. Right. Oh, yeah, beep, beep, you too. Right. Let's see if I can do any better now, shall we? Road's dead round here. How the hell are you supposed to see out of here? You don't. Anything above 60. What you got to remember is it depends on the screen that you're powering there, Ashton. If you're only running a standard 60 frames per second monitor, running any higher frames per second isn't going to really do you any good. You're not going to see the benefit. So as long as you can hit 60 plus minimum, so if you can run, say, a constant 100 frames, then you've got a decent enough PC to handle what you need. You know, if you said, you know, I want to be running a 144 Hz screen constantly, then you need to have a PC that's capable of running over 100 frames per second minimum. But most people running 60 Hz screens, as long as you're running, you know, anything higher than 60, so if you're going to be running a constant, say, 80 to 90, you're fine. Well, it depends. I mean, you can have it showing higher frames. Let's say your PC's capable of doing 100 frames. If you took VSync off, you could technically get 100 frames per second showing. However, when your graphics are moving on the screen, because you're not synced, you may find you get what's called tearing, which is where the image is separated, because sometimes tearing will happen on having too high a frames or too low a frame. So you'll get that tearing effect coming in. So if you're running on a 60 Hz monitor, I would put VSync on. That would lock your frames correctly. But when you have VSync on, you won't see any more than 60 frames. So some people like to run with VSync off, but you then have the risk of having your image tearing on the screen. For something like ETS, I would have VSync on. It doesn't make that much of a difference, and I would rather go for a smoother looking game than having the maximum number of frames. I mean, at the end of the day, I wouldn't worry if your PC, even if your PC was capable of running 150 frames. I would still probably have it locked to VSync on ETS. Where you'll benefit is if you ever upgrade your screen at a later date to, say, 144 Hz, then you can take advantage of the extra frames per second for that monitor. Especially with something like FreeSync or a G-Sync monitor. Not always, it really depends on the game itself, even with racing games. You know, ideally VSync off helps with not so much input lag, but there is a slight delay, shall we say, because obviously you're waiting for the frames to render. We can bypass that one as well, that's fine. It does vary from game to game. I tend to run with V-Sync on because I don't notice a lot of difference, maybe with input lag from controller or the screen itself. But it will vary from game and from person to person, so ultimately though, I don't think it's going to be critical for you. I tend to go for graphic quality over anything. Unfortunately, having VR doesn't help because you've got to hit 90 frames per second constantly, which means I've got to lower the resolution down to be able to do that in VR. And the same with triples, because I'm running triple screens. Technically all my screens are 144 Hz, but in some games I can't do 144 Hz. You know, especially if I'm running ETS and I'm in a busy city area, my frames per second drop down to 20. It's quite shocking. Exactly that, 144 Hz. Something like a G-Sync monitor, anything above 90 is going to be good, and the monitor then will kind of lock to whatever you've got free, so it'll work up to 144 Hz, and it'll work lower. It'll go down below 90, but it'll just keep everything locked nice, and will vary the refresh. They tend to say anything around 90 to 144 is going to be good. But ideally, you know, if you want to play all games on a G-Sync monitor or a FreeSync monitor at 144, you're going to need a minimum of 100 frames per second. But for you to do that, say, in all games, you're probably going to want to invest in a slightly better graphics card. But who knows, your budget may change in 6 months' time and the market may change where you can afford to do so. Which is why I said to you originally, don't buy parts now when your pricing and budget may change in 6 months' time. Hold fire, save your money, and have a look at the market again in 6 months' time. And if you're lucky, the price has changed, your budget has changed, and you can afford, you know, maybe to go for better parts. Yeah, there's too many variables when it comes to PCs, you know. It'll come down to the PC you've got, it'll come down to the screen you're running, and it'll boil down to the game you're running, and again, the resolution. Are you going to be running a 1080p screen? Are you going for a 1440p screen? Are you looking at a 4K screen? You know, all of that are factors you need to decide. And then again, future-proofing yourself. Do you want to have a system that's capable of running up to 4K resolution in gaming? And if you do, it's going to cost you more to do so. But I would say, you know, minimum spec or minimum target is 1080p, 60 Hz, 60 frames a second. You know, and if your PC is capable of doing more than that, then you're on a winner. Because you've got yourself a good starting place. All you can do is just go for the best parts you can afford at a given time. You know, you can play a waiting game and you could wait another 6 months and get a better machine, but you'll be doing that all the time with PCs. The market moves too quick. Is it G-Sync or FreeSync? Again, there's two different types of monitor. And then you've got to look at the panel type. Is it TN? Is it VA? Is it IPS? IPS is going to be good for color accuracy, but that suffers from IPS glow, so you will get a sheen to it. VA will give you deeper blacks, not so good on color accuracy. Can suffer from crushed blacks on VA panels, which can be problematic and can have black smearing. TN panels, color reproduction isn't very good, can have very fast screens, can handle fast-paced action games, but you tend to find your black levels suffer and your color accuracy suffers. So there's always a trade-off with monitors. I wouldn't say a 1440p, sorry, 1440. I wouldn't say 144Hz screen is critical. But now I've upgraded to 144, I probably wouldn't go back down to a 60 for a main gaming screen. I mean, you can run with 144 monitors. If it's a FreeSync monitor, technically you can use that on an NVIDIA card, but you do need to be able to run 144 Hz or 144 frames as a minimum to make sure you can take advantage of the screen. G-Sync would be better because G-Sync can regulate. I need to cut in front of this guy. Oh crap. Hey, we're in, we're out. We're all good. It would be nice to give you a message to say, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, computers can be very complicated these days. It's a minefield of parts. I wouldn't... Personally, 24-inch screen is fine. I personally would run a 27. I'm just trying to think though. I think that the difference is though, if you're looking at screens, let's say you settled on screen size of 24-inch, 1080p minimum. What is the price difference then between, say, a standard 60Hz monitor and a 144Hz monitor? You know, if we're talking, say, 10-20 quid, then it may be worth looking at the 144Hz, assuming that all the other specs are exactly the same. So let's assume it's an IPS monitor, 1080p as well. The real difference though is 160Hz, one is a 144Hz. It comes down to price. You know, if you're talking say 20 quid, 30 quid difference, it may be worth considering. We're talking £100 worth of difference though. Is it really worth the extra? I wouldn't be 100% convinced. You know, I'm actually running 60 frames per second on my monitors at the moment because I can't do triples in 144 because my graphics card doesn't support 144Hz on triples. If I go back to a single screen, it'll run it all day long. The other way of looking at it as well is, what you got to remember is a 144Hz monitor will still do 60Hz perfectly fine. You don't have to turn G-Sync on, and you could always look at it as an upgrade path. You could say, well, I've got the monitor, that's going to last me say 3 or 4 years, but the graphics card I'm getting, I only plan to have that for a year and then I'll upgrade. And again, by upgrading the graphics card, you're opening up the door then to saying, okay, now I can take advantage of the 144Hz. That's assuming you couldn't take advantage of that in the first place. Yeah, gaming on 60Hz. You You know, just because there's monitors out there now that do 144, 165, even 200, yes, they will look smoother, but I wouldn't, when you work into a budget, I wouldn't say it's critical to have 144 hertz screen. You know, screen tech is moving on a lot these days. You know, there's nanotechnology coming out for screens. Thank you very much. And then you decide to put your brakes on. It's not like it was, say, 2 years ago, where monitors were very much 60 hertz, and the new technology was literally just upping the frequencies to 144. Now you've got things like, you know, different monitor technologies coming in, like nanotech and all of that. But that's through the roof at the moment. You know, your QLED monitors are extortionate prices at the moment. Yeah, turn on G-Sync. I mean, assuming that your PC has the grunt to power G-Sync correctly, then turn on the G-Sync and the graphics card will communicate with the monitor and will try and line everything up for you, and you should find it runs a lot smoother. Good thing is with G-Sync, it'll work to lower frames as well. So even though your monitor may be 144 hertz, if your PC doesn't hit, you know, that kind of frequency of frame, sorry, it'll still have a benefit of anything over 60 frames, because G-Sync will kind of make sure that all the frames are matched up automatically. The problem comes in where your frames dip too low that G-Sync can't make that correction for you. But I must admit, 9 times out of 10, that's not likely to happen. Yeah, well, if you haven't enabled it, then you need to make sure G-Sync is turned on to take advantage. And you should notice the game is running a lot smoother. Oh, I'm in the wrong lane. Oh, trouble. I'm going to swing it in. It's not a problem anytime. I'll help as much as I can. I may not be 100% accurate, but I try. Uh-oh, uh-oh. What are you doing? What, we having a party in the bridge or what? Jesus. Oh no, it's a shadow, let's stop. What was that all about? They really need to improve the basic horns. They are rubbish. Where's my fuel gauge on this one? It's up there. Ooh, we're running low. Fuel, 271 litres remaining, 176 miles, we're good. We're good, we got plenty. I can't while I'm streaming. Because if it plays copyrighted music, then the whole thing gets copyrighted and I can't do anything with it. I could play no copyright music in the background. The problem is, though, if anything goes wrong with the stream, it's really hard for me to try and fix it when I'm in VR because I've got to tab out, get the headset off and have a look at it. So I just tend to run it as it is. You guys will have to play your own MP3s or something, I don't know. Or we can just have a group sing-along. Except I'm not going to be singing. No, I know you mean in the game, but there is a radio that you can do in the game if you wanted to. So it is possible to have music while you're playing yourself. You can either play your own MP3 music itself, or you can just set up web music, play through the radio in the truck. It's not something that I've ever got into, to be honest, because if I was doing that, forgetting streaming now, but if I was doing that, I would just run something like Winamp in the background and have that playing my music. And yep, I still use Winamp. That's an old program, but yeah, well, it's something I've used for years and it's never failed me. I don't know, I mean, I guess it's down to the person. I don't see a problem with becoming a truck driver. I know that I wouldn't mind becoming a truck driver. It's just the hard part of becoming a truck driver for myself, you know, being a single father with a child, kind of makes it difficult to be away from home. But I don't think I'd have an issue doing it. Depends on your situation, doesn't it? I mean, if you're single, you know, you don't have anything tying you down, so to speak. It's a job that you can easily get into and do. Assuming you can drive, that is. But if you've got family, you know, it makes the job a lot harder because it takes you away from your family. And I guess that's the same with anything, you know. Family will always make ties for you. And it's just whether you're willing to or can work around that and make a schedule that works. Because that would put a strain on family life, to say the least. I guess it comes down to your partner and your kids and whether they're understanding about it. Some would be, some wouldn't be. Well, it depends. You know, if you're driving just across the UK back and forth, fair enough. But if you've got a job that takes you, you know, into Europe, that's another thing. I don't know if I want to have a truck job that took me abroad all the time. Now, if you're talking maybe, you know, Scotland back down to south of England, fair enough, that's a different story. Yeah, but think about it. There's many jobs out there that may seem... I think there's jobs out there that's more stressful than driving a truck. Not to say that driving a truck isn't stressful, but, you know, you could be sitting at a computer at work all day and still get stressed. It's all down to the company and the constraints they put on you. And the problem is, a lot of companies these days do put constraints on you. You know, they do have targets you've got to work to or meet and hit. You know, whether your targets are driving a truck for, I don't know, 10, 12 hours a day, or whether your targets are sitting at a desk and, I don't know, having to deal with 100, 200 queries a day or something. It's not so much the work you're doing, it's the targets that the company imposed that cause the stress. So you could be tapping away on keys all day long, but you may have to do, I don't know, pick a number, it's going to be a stupid number, let's say 5,000 words or something, but you've got to do that day in, day out, or do that within a certain time frame, and then you've got to do all that the correct way. You know, can be just as stressful as driving a truck, driving or flying a plane, you know. It's all down to that, if you ask me. Because let's face it, you could jump in a truck and drive it, but if you drove it how you wanted to, you probably wouldn't have the stress. Same as sitting at a desk doing computer system work for somebody. You were doing it the way you wanted to do it, within your time frame, it would probably be a no issue. But when a company starts putting in, well, we need you to do this X number of times a day, and you're hitting it, and your performance has to be on point, you know, 24/7, that's where the stress comes in. Now, the one thing I haven't done yet, which I've just remembered, is in ATS I haven't meddled with the suspension settings like I have in ETS. I think that might be for the next stream. I'll have a look at changing the suspension options, because as you can see right now there's not a lot of body roll, but that may change in the next one, because we're going to play with those settings to try and make it a little bit more realistic. Because I forgot about the update, and the change to suspension should be in this update. We've just got to enable it in the settings. Have a look. 36 miles, 41 minutes to go. Whoop. Really? Well, that's someone who likes to take his hobby a little bit too seriously. Each to their own, though. He was obviously earning enough money to purchase one of them, though. They're not cheap as well, are they? It's way too much money. Why would anybody want to do that is beyond me. Whoa, we want to be in this lane. Could have ended badly. Have I got lights on this thing? Yeah, let's turn them on, shall we? That might be better. What is the time? Let's have a look. Yeah, I thought it was getting late. Oh, I don't know. There was a TV program about them. And I was like, they don't look that real. Unless they've improved since then, I don't know. That was a while ago. Red light. We'll hang fire back here for a bit. Sneaking it out. Really? Oh, well, he find me now, I'm going to go for it. He's turning anyway. I didn't realise I rolled that far. Hello. Alright, what do we got? 7 minutes, 3 miles down the road. Suits for rent. I think that's the drop-off point over there. This one he just went through a red light. Oh yeah. This doesn't look tight at all, does it? Yeah. I'm assuming we can drive right the way around the back. We can't. I'm going to be gutted because I'm going to be stuck. Oh, jeez. No, we can't. This is going to be fun then. Oh, I could have kept that turning. We've done that wrong. Oh, that'll be the curb. Let's strain her out a bit. We need that back end to come down a bit. I'm too high. Right, we're going to reverse this right back and forward again. Dodge the pole. Right. Get this lined up, shall we? Right. The only problem is I never find these trucks. The turning circle is way smaller than the Euros. But I always get it lined up wrong, like this time. It's going to be really wide. Look at that. Never get it lined up right. Stop that. Let's try not going back so far, shall we? Make it as tight as we can. Let's try that. A little bit closer. The wall. We're going to hit another trailer. Not good, is it? Oop. Straighten that up. Gotta admit, I do find these much harder to park. Hold on, I need my other screen on. That'll do me. We're in. That was going to go up another level. Right, so what's that? That's not bad. We've hit now 308,000. So the money's going up. I want that to hit at least 500,000 before we even jump over to the bank, take out some loans, and then before we even start spending the money on buying a garage, buying some trucks, and getting some drivers working for us. Because it's going to be too easy to spend the money now and then really struggle. Want to get at least 1 million. So 500,000, get 500,000 in loans, and then we'll have a million to play with. We can at least get a garage going with that lot and a couple of trucks, I would have thought. Anyway, we're going to leave that there. Thanks for watching, guys. Been great talking to you all. Yeah. It's been a really good little session. Hope you've all enjoyed. If you have, please leave a like and subscribe. We'll be looking at doing this again soon. Not quite sure when, though. Maybe tomorrow, actually, because it's been good fun today. So again, thanks for watching, and leave it there. I'm going to get me some food, and I shall see you in the next one. So thanks for watching. Take care.